Hey everyone, this is Keith Scott from out in Sydney, Australia. I'm one of the voices of Bullwinkle J. Moose. It's time to watch Relentless and Unstoppable. And so give it up for your main hosts, Douglas Kenny and Andy McPhee.
Hey everybody, this is Doug Kenny and welcome to Relentless and Unstoppable. We have another amazing guest coming on the channel today, so please hit like and subscribe. And after this episode, please stay tuned to the RNU channel for more amazing guests. Let's get this on!
Hey everybody, how you doing? Just a quick little share of why I started Relentless and Unstoppable. It was for one very simple reason, because of Doug Kenny. Nothing to do with me at all, zero. I was just coaching Doug, and he took on the coaching and mentoring, and he made all the changes. He took all the suggestions from his parents as well as my coaching, but it was all about Doug, his breakthrough and his weight loss, his willingness to accept that he is dealing with high-functioning autism and other issues, but he's never quit, he's never given up. So we did one interview with him to share his story, and then we decided to start interviewing other people. And Doug has now taken over the whole channel, and he does all the interviews, he runs everything. He's just an amazing young man. So RNU was born from simply what an amazing young man Doug is, and his story needed to be shared.
Yeah, so what did you do afterwards that helped you overcome all that?
Well, the first 18, the accident was June 2007, and so I didn't have my leg amputated until November 2008. So I think it's 16 months exactly, or close to 16 months. So I spent a lot of that time just having different surgeries. Like I said, I think 13 surgeries I had. So it was a pretty vicious cycle of surgery, rehab, surgery, rehab, surgery, rehab. And that's sort of when I was starting to get a bit sick of that going through that cycle of things, and looked at amputating my leg. So, but, you know, as part of my rehab, I used to go to the local gym, and of course that's sort of where I got to know Andy, and I made a lot of friends going to the local gym. And stuff like that. And I had family and friends close by that were really helpful and really good support for me. So yeah, that sort of helped me get through.
Good to hear. Do you have a prosthetic leg that is in place of your?
Yeah, I do. I actually have 3 prosthetic legs to choose from. So I have an everyday leg. And then I also have a water leg, which is just a very basic prosthetic leg that I can wear, if I go swimming at the local pool, or I go camping occasionally. I can wear it in the river or to the beach. It doesn't matter if it gets wet, in the salt water or sandy. It doesn't have a lot of complicated parts. It's very basic. My daily leg has a lot more complicated parts to make it more comfortable and suitable to my walking and my everyday needs. And I also have a running blade. So for anyone that's watched the Paralympics and the runners with their running blades and stuff, I have one of those as well that I use regularly at the gym, do running on the treadmill and things like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Are you part of the Paralympics or?
No, I've never been part of Paralympics. I played a couple of wheelchair sports. So I started playing wheelchair basketball that I got introduced to by chance from another amputee that was getting a new prosthetic, or getting his prosthetic leg looked at the same time as me. And he asked me if I was interested in playing wheelchair basketball. So I went along and had a look and loved the look of it. And because I grew up playing basketball as well, so it really sort of interested me when the suggestion got made. So I did that for 5 or 6 years. I did pretty well at that. I played in the National League here in Australia for the state team in Victoria. So I did that for a few years, and that was okay. I had to travel quite a bit to do that. So the state team was based down in Dandenong, which is, on the north side of Melbourne, the suburb I live in, whereas Dandenong's like the south side of Melbourne. So it was quite a bit of travelling, to go to training and when we played matches at home games and stuff like that. So I got a bit sick of doing that after a while. And then a friend of mine that I knew from wheelchair basketball suggested wheelchair tennis to me. So I got in touch with someone that organised that sort of. She gave me the number of someone that organised all that sort of thing for Tennis Australia, and I've since been involved in wheelchair tennis, which I play just here in the suburb of Craigieburn where I live, which has been really good. I've been doing that for probably 5 or 6 years as well, I think. So yeah, been doing a couple of different things, involved in disabled sports, but never of the standards to make it to the Paralympics. No, unfortunately.
I see what you mean. So, yeah, when you started playing wheelchair sports, what was it like when your team won with you in it?
Yeah, it was a good feeling. I think the winning's always nice, but just being involved in a sports again and getting to know different people was probably the best part about it. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I felt really comfortable being on a basketball court, even though I was in a wheelchair instead of playing able-bodied basketball like I had growing up when I was younger. But yeah, I felt like I really belonged there and I felt comfortable there, which was probably the best feeling that I got out of it, I think.
Was your family and friends impressed with it?
Yeah, they liked it. Yeah, they used to come along and watch me play occasionally. But again, that was quite a bit of travelling for them if they wanted to come and watch me and stuff as well. So didn't happen, a whole lot. But yeah, occasionally I'd have friends and family that would come along and watch me play. Yeah.
That's awesome. How'd you hold up during the COVID pandemic a couple years ago?
Yeah, it was very tough. Yeah, there was no gym or no sports or anything that we could play. I don't know if you know, we had some very tough lockdown laws here in Melbourne. I think some of the toughest in the world.
Yeah.
So, I used to get on, do video calls with friends on Messenger and group video calls. It'd be like catching up and having coffee with friends. You'd just video call with them and make yourself a coffee and have it at home. So, it was tough. I lived by myself as well. But I have a dog that was, good company as well, luckily. So he sort of helped keep me a little bit sane as well, I think. And when it was allowed for us to do, I'd be able to get out and walk my dog and, give him some exercise as well as myself and some fresh air. So yeah. It was tough, but in a sense, I'm just sort of remembering back to what happened. In a sense, it was a bit of a cloud with a silver lining for me because about 12 months earlier, I'd had a surgery on my stump to remove some of the nerves in my stump that I was having trouble with. And I had a lot of complications with the skin on my stump after the surgery. So having COVID come along, it made me rest a lot more. And then by the time we were sort of allowed it out again, to meet people and start doing things, my stump had healed up well, and I was able to sort of go along with my usual life again. Whereas before I was quite interrupted with the skin issues on my stump and stuff like that. So yeah, it sort of served a purpose for me in a sense, and that's how I looked at it. So which made it a little bit easier to cope with, I guess.
Yeah. What are your hopes for the future?
The hopes for my future. Well, I still, even though I don't do rehab after all my surgeries are finished and stuff, I still continue to go to the gym. Sort of, I try and do 5 days a week, depending on what I've got on. So I hope to continue that. Since doing the Sydney Harbour Bridge climb, I've actually discovered there's 3 other bridges in the world that you can do. You can walk up as well. So there's one in Brisbane here in Australia, and there's another one in Perth over in Western Australia, one of the states here. And there's also one in New Zealand, which is, I think, Auckland off the top of my head. There's a bridge climb in New Zealand, Auckland, New Zealand. So they're on my bucket list things to do, and things I'm sort of really looking forward to doing in the future. They might not. Well, I'm actually planning a trip to Western Australia where you have to fly into Perth being the capital city, in November, and that's when I discovered the bridge climb in Perth, because I was looking for things to do while I was over there. I'm visiting family over there. A cousin of mine lives in Western Australia. He's about 3 hours south of Perth or something, but yeah. So I've sort of made the suggestion to him and his sister as well, and it looks like that's something that we might be doing when I'm over there, is doing the bridge climb at Perth. So I'll be able to tick another box of the bridge climbs off my list, which will be really pleasing. So
That sounds really good. And this is the last thing I have for now, but how can your journey impact the world, you think?
how can my journey impact the world? Well, I've actually started an Instagram page when I focused a lot of my training at the gym on doing the Sydney Bridge climb, because it had been so long in the planning and it meant quite a lot to me to do. So I've actually started an Instagram page for anyone that wants to follow, about my training and what's involved and doing the bridge climb. So I hope to continue doing that on my Instagram page, and inspire some people, and not only people with disabilities themselves, but just people in general, that just because you have an accident, be it disability or a severe injury, that life doesn't stop. It continues. You just why it might take a little bit longer to do things. You just have to find different ways of doing it. That's all. And I guess that's for me, the challenge is the things I used to do before my accident, finding ways of being able to do them again. And that's why doing the Harbour Bridge was such a goal of mine, because I'd actually climbed. At Easter was the second time I've climbed the Harbour Bridge. The first time was about 3 months before I had my accident. So I think might have been February or March in 2007. I did the bridge climb then. So doing it again was just, I could do I'd done it once before my accident, and doing the Sydney Bridge climb again was just a goal of mine that I set, was something that I wanted to try and do again. So yeah, that's what sort of meant so much to me. So
Great to hear. You are truly an inspiration to so many people, for sure.
yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So where can people find you?
Yeah, so my Instagram page is just my name, so Paul Laidlaw, and with the number 1. So all lowercase letters, so PAULLAIDLAW, and then the number 1 on Instagram. Yeah, and that's I sort of post what I do at the gym and my training that was involved in preparing to climb the Harbour Bridge, because the Harbour Bridge, it was, I think, 1,332 steps. They say that is so, and it took quite a long time to do. It was about an hour and a half or 2 hour walk, go to the top and across and back down the other side again. So, yeah, wanted to do the training to make sure I was able to do it without too much trouble. So, yeah, so
Great to hear. So we thank you for coming on.
yep, no worries. Thanks for having me, Doug.
No problem. So everyone, please check out Paul Laidlaw on his Facebook and his Instagram and any social media platforms he has. And we'll see you next week for the next episode of RNU.